Welcome back to another part of my F1 24 Kimi Antonelli Career Mode. Today we head to Austria and our first sprint race of the season. Last time out we went to sunny Spain, but it was not all smiles and sunshine for us as we finished P12 after another slow pit stop. It was Spain without the S, unfortunately for us. Like I said, today we head to Austria, first sprint race of the season. Super excited for it with the new format as well. Let's see what we can do, but first we've got a new cutscene.
Is a hive of activity behind us. More action though going on behind closed doors because, Anthony Davis said, we are in the middle of silly season. There is speculation everywhere as to where the drivers will move around the grid. Tell me from a driver's perspective, just how distracting is this?
It is a distraction, and it has been up until this point in the season, especially when you're outside of the car. But once that helmet goes on and the visor's down, it's back to business as usual, and that's when you see it all melt away. You're in the car doing what you do best. But yeah, certainly out of it, you sometimes see it boil over. Drivers have a few strong words to say to each other after some moments on track because it is such a stressful environment.
A huge mind game for all of the drivers. We're having secretive meetings, clandestine chats. What is exactly being said though? Give us a level of insight.
So if you're not performing, obviously, we're in a very brutal world in Formula 1 where the driver's data is there on show for inside your team for all to see, and you're constantly being compared against your teammate. There's nowhere to hide. And if you're not performing, then your team boss might be looking elsewhere and might not be telling you the full story. So sometimes you seek news from elsewhere in the paddock, even from the media. They might be telling you what's really going on with inside your team, and that's very uncomfortable. And then on the flip side, if you're having a great season, you might be the one having secretive talks with other teams that are performing better than your own team.
Okay, well, we're nearly out of time, so we're going to send you to the commentary box and we're going to get ready for today's Grand Prix.
High up in the mountains, here at Spielberg, it's time for qualifying on what will be the fastest laps of the season. Stand by for qualifying at the Austrian Grand Prix.
Here we are then, SQ3, SQ1 and SQ2 were formality. We've been incredibly quick around Austria here. I do not know what's been going on, but we have nailed the setup completely. It's up to the line, SQ3, and we're going to go P7. Not the fastest lap, but certainly nothing too shabby either. Albon knocked out in P13 in SQ2. We've got the sprint today. We've got qualifying tomorrow, and then we've got the sprint tomorrow. Sorry, qualifying the next day, and then the race is on Sunday. So SQ3, it's Max Verstappen on pole with a 1:04.8, a brilliant lap from him, 8/10 faster than Charles Leclerc. But we'll be lining up ahead of the Mercedes and Red Bulls in P7. Let's head straight to the sprint.
Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Norris, Fernando Alonso, Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Williams, Russell, Hamilton, Perez, Ocon, Gasly, Stroll, Magnussen, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Albon, Bottas, and Joe Brady. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? you've watched videos before you get into the car of previous races gone by. You know where you have to place your car if X, Y, or Z happens in front of you or behind you. So having this clear game plan is absolutely essential. Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
So then, P7 for the sprint. Strategy mediums to the end. I don't know why they're suggesting a soft medium. We're lowering the fuel because we're going to get right into it. We thought about the softs to the end, but they just will not last. And we do not have a set to use, it seems, either. We go to 5 red lights for our first ever sprint here in Austria. It's lights out. Oh no, and away we don't go. We have anti-stall at the start, and that drops us down to P10. We were waiting for so long off those lines, off of those 5 lights. It took ages for them to fall off, and now we're fighting for P10 with Pierre Gasly. But hopefully we are quicker than the Alpine. We know we have pace around Austria, and we need to showcase that. We're going to go down the inside of Pierre Gasly, hopefully. Yes, we are just going to slip it down the inside and move up into P10. P9, but Gasly does fight back, and we're going wheel to wheel. Gasly just ahead. We're going to move back into the slipstream and try and pass him into turn 4. We're going to brake later than him, and on the inside, can we move up into P9? Yes, we can. And now Sergio Perez in the Red Bull is 7 tenths ahead of us, but we do catch up to him. As now lap 2, we are gaining on Perez quite significantly, it must be said, and we are going to send it down the inside of Sergio Perez. I thought about a move on Russell as well, decided just to slow the car down rather than risking that, and we move up into P8. We're moving back, we're chasing the pack in this sprint. We're going to do exactly the same move on George Russell. And now Oscar Piastri in the McLaren is the next man ahead. We are flying here around Austria. We're making a move every lap so far. And now end of lap 3. We don't want to wait till lap 4. We want to get moving on Piastri as quickly as possible. As Piastri moves to the inside, we're going to dart to the outside and swoop round the outside of Oscar Piastri. And I thought about going round the outside of Norris as well with a decent exit, which we have got. Can we gain on Norris and set up a move into turn 3? As Piastri also wants to come back at us, we're going to brake just down the middle. Norris is going to try and send it on Alonso. I'm surprised he hasn't broken his front wing there. But Piastri is trying to re-overtake us here, and he has re-overtaken us. But we're both going to have the DRS as a drag race down to turn 4. Piastri wins it, but we're going to go back down the inside with much later braking into P6. And now Lando Norris and Fernando Alonso. And then Carlos Sainz are up ahead as Norris goes for the move on Fernando Alonso. If we can set our car up well here, we're going to go very deep and go for the switchback on Alonso, which works beautifully. We had a much better exit. Even without the DRS, I reckon we would have overtaken him. But now with DRS, we're going to gain on Norris. We're going to go to the inside. Alonso thinks about round the outside, but we are going to go down the inside and up into P4. Now Carlos Sainz in P3. Maybe not just so quite over with Norris, however. Because he's gone for an epic switchback on us and re-overtaken us. And now we're going to try and do another very similar move that we did on Alonso on Sainz. We go for a switchback in a different corner, it must be said. But we still get it done beautifully. As now we move up into P4. But there's Alonso on the outside who wants to re-overtake both of us. We are going to defend, however, to the inside. And now Lando Norris in P3 in the podium positions. It is a sprint. But could it be as we start lap 8, the final lap of the race? It's us versus Lando Norris for this P3 spot, and we are going to have the DRS. All the cards are in our hands. Norris, we can see the red light flashing on his rear. We can see he's charging his battery. We are going to go for it down the inside of Lando Norris. Can we just keep it on the track? Yes, we can. We're going to get the DRS as well, and we are going to move up into P3. And Lando Norris is not going to be able to respond because he is too far back, and we have the DRS as we come round the final corner. Charles Leclerc wins the sprint from Verstappen by 3 tenths. We come home for P3 and our first podium, albeit in a sprint race. But it all counts. P3 for us in the sprint. We recovered from our shocking start and driver of the day to boot. So we're back on form after Spain. P3 is for us then, Charles Leclerc in P1. Verstappen takes P2 and it's Lando Norris in P4. Alonso and Sainz, the 2 Spaniards, in P5 and 6. But Albon down in P17. That's genuinely poor from him. Hamilton as well, dropping down the order. Albon did qualify P13. You might have heard me say that. The reason he was P18 is he had a 5-place grid penalty. I have no idea what for. But now let's get straight into qualifying for the race on Sunday. In terms of the standings, then not much has changed. No, just skip that.
High up in the mountains, here at Spielberg, it's time for qualifying on what will be the fastest laps of the season. Stand by for qualifying at the Austrian Grand Prix.
Q1 then, here we are as we come around the final corner. We go a bit wide, lose quite a bit of time, it must be said. But up to the line, it's a 105.8, which is fastest of all. And, well, I'll just let the session end because I was not expecting that. We're fastest over Verstappen by a 10th in Q1. Albon makes it through into Q2 as well. But we are fastest, which is a shock. No shocks no shock drivers to be eliminated. But we're fastest in Q1. So incredible stuff. As now we are in Q2. And once again, we almost top the timesheets. We're incredibly close to Fernando Alonso. Norris does beat that time, but we're P3 comfortably. We only need the one lap. Hamilton out in P11. That is the first shock of qualifying. Albon, our teammate, also out in P13. But we're P3. And that makes me think that we can challenge for pole as we come around the final corner in Q3. For our first lap, we have got another set of tyres to go out on. And we go into P2, but 7 tenths from Lando Norris. Norris has put in a 105.0, which is a mega lap from him on these tyres. And we need to go again, because we need to improve. But Verstappen has somehow beaten Norris's time. I do not know how, but you're about to see why this setup is so good. I've gone for really high wings in the corners, which is going to cost us in the straight, as you're about to see. As we finish Sector 1, we are 3 tenths down on Max Verstappen's time. But out of the exits of corners, we gain so much time. And that is where we are key. Because, I haven't mentioned this yet, but for the race, it is raining. I don't know how much it's going to be raining by, but it is raining. So we put a wet setup on the car. But this wet setup is feeling incredible on this dry track. We are locked in the car. As now, we are marginally up. Marginally, a tenth up on our previous time. But still, that's 6 tenths too slow to beat Verstappen's time. As now we're going to try and get a little slipstream from Fernando Alonso. We're oh so close to our previous time. But now this final sector, we're going to throw the car into the final corner. Absolutely, completely. Gain 2 tenths from him. But is that going to be enough to put us on the front row or even ahead of Max Verstappen? No, it's not. It's going to be P3 for us for the race on Sunday. Can't complain about that, but I don't know where Verstappen and Norris have pulled laps out of the bag there. A 105.1 for Verstappen. It's a 105.4 from us. Great laps from them, to be fair. But it's Fernando Alonso in P4 who's going to be alongside us. And it's Norris and Verstappen who make up the front row. Let's head to the race on Sunday.
With 25
on the ground and they're there waving to the other drivers. They do it within themselves and chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to keep going through the race. And those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in the season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
It is full wets out here. It is raining like hell. Oh my god. Cats and dogs will probably be pouring from the sky at this rate. Full wet tyres. You never see that in Formula 1. We are going to go a bit below on the fuel because it's so full wets. We can definitely save quite a lot here. Hopefully our fuel efficiency isn't too bad. But let's get straight into this full wet race. This wet setup might prove crucial as we go to 5 red lights for a soaking Austria here in Season 1. Starting from P3, our best qualifying on the grid, it's lights out and away we go, and immediately you can tell that we are much quicker than Lando Norris. So are we? He comes back at us in the braking zone, but can we just feed the car around the outside? No, we cannot, but Verstappen's already pulling away an 8/10 lead, already over a second, but we are fighting with Lando Norris right now for P2. Can we maybe send it down the inside? We are going to go for the move down the inside of Norris, but there is about 4 wide, I think, behind us. And Norris does shut us out. There's a concertina effect behind, I believe that's why there are yellow flags. Russell overtakes us and he shoves us quite wide and we lose the back end a bit. But we do manage to just hold on. And there's another yellow flag. I'm not sure what... There's a red flag. Okay then, I have no idea why. I have to assume that it's just because of the wet weather. So we've got a rain-affected wet red flag. Does that change the strategy at all? Quite obviously, it will now be a lot drier on the track, but it's still the full wet tyres. Do still look the tyres to be on, but it is going to dry up towards the end of the race. You see me go on the inters, but it says that it is a lot slower than the wets. So we're going to go to full wet tyres for this red flag restart. Hopefully everyone else has done the same, which yes, they have. We go to 5 red lights for the second time here in Austria, and again on full wet tyres. A lot less rain, however. It's lights out and away we go. And Norris with a shocking stall. This time we are going to overtake him completely round the outside, although at least I hope. But we do get the better exit and we do overtake him. But is he going to come back at us? Yes, he is. We're going to squeeze him to the inside. As now Norris is going down the inside of us and he's actually going to re-overtake us. We're down in P5, even though we were P4 at that when Russell pushed us, because Leclerc did overtake us when the red flag came out when Russell pushed us wide. So we are now in P4 after the overtake on Norris, but Hamilton is forcing his way through. The Mercedes are being very aggressive today, but Lewis Hamilton is going to go up into P4. I don't know if this is the right setup, to be honest. I set the car up for intermediate weather, but the rain is a lot less than what it was at the start of the race, which means that, and the fact that the track is drying means that intermediate weather will be coming soon. As we are still fighting though for this P6, we are struggling so much on these full wet tyres. As we get an objective to overtake Norris, there is no way I'm pulling that off. As Fernando Alonso overtakes us, we're down to P7 now. Tsunoda in P8 is just behind us. It's now lap 4. We've still got the objective, but we are still fighting with Alonso. The gap is 2.6 seconds to Lando Norris. And Hamilton's in the pits. And as the safety car is deployed. And if you look on the mini-map on the track, it is because there's a Williams spun. And we are in one of the Williams, which means Alexander Albon has spun. And you see me, I click box this lap. And we're going to pit immediately onto the intermediates. These wets are too much for us. We're going onto the inters. We're taking the gamble. And Lewis Hamilton as well is onto the inters. That's where he pits. That's why he pit. He boxed onto the inters. And now the safety cars come out for us. We are going to go onto the inters. We need a good stop from the lads. And they provided 2.5 second stop. First good stop in a while, it must be said. We're going to go onto the inters though. And the safety car's going to bunch us all up. And hopefully then we can overtake loads of cars and put ourselves in a real good spot. As Hamilton on the inters does overtake us, so that's very important for him. We're going to need to overtake him as quickly as possible. Daniel Ricciardo in 16th, also on the inters. The safety car is in this lap. Lap 7, beginning lap 8. Safety car in. It's green flag running again, and the track is still full wet, I would say. I would still say the track is full wet, but I'd say it's beginning to dry to that intermediate point, to that crossover between the inters and the dries. But it's still very, very doable to be on the full wets right now, as we're going to look for the move on Hamilton immediately. I know it's a long way back, but that's why we're deploying all our ERS to send it down the inside of Hamilton, and Bottas moves under the braking, and we have to send it down the inside of him as well. We're going to force him wide for that. Not very happy with him at all. We get an objective to achieve a fuel load below, which is very, very doable, I'd say. We can definitely use all our fuel up. As Bottas defends again, but we're going to go much later braking down the inside. We are going to go very deep, as Bottas is going to go for a switchback on us, just like Lando Norris did in the sprint. We've gone green in the first sector, which is very positive for us, because that means that these inters are working better for us. As now Lewis Hamilton is coming, thought about the move down the inside of us. We shut him out, however. We achieved the fuel load, and now it's lap 10. You'll notice I haven't made any inroads on Zhou and Ocon. They've both been frustrating me so much, but now as we begin lap 11, the track is now intermediate weather. We are going to gain on Zhou Guanyu, and I think about a little dive bomb to the inside, but I decided to just hang it out and wait my turn, because Zhou flashing red light on the back of his car. We've got all the ERS we need. We're going to go to the outside of Zhou Guanyu and up into P12. This will be our first overtake, and it's so crucial. These two car drivers have both frustrated us incredibly on their tyres, in all fairness, but now we have overtaken one of them, and Esteban Ocon is the next one. You can see he's really slow. We're going to go down the inside into the final corner and up into P10. Now Lance Stroll is 2 seconds ahead of us beginning lap 12, and this next cut will show you how much these inters are so much quicker than the wet tyre, than the full wets here. Well, we gained 2 tenths in turn 1 to begin with. Hamilton also making moves, overtaking Zhou Guanyu, but it's easier for me to overtake rather than an AI, as you see us get right close up to Lance Stroll, and we're so close we can even go round the outside of him. That's how much later we can brake. Great move from us, round the outside of Lance Stroll. That's how much later that we can brake. That's how much more grip we have. And now Pierre Gasly, you're the next one, mate. We know we're fast in these final 2 corners, and we're going to do a copycat move as we did on Esteban Ocon and move up into P8 on the full wet tyres, and there's no way they're coming back. We set a 1:15.1, our best is a 1:14.5, and again we're just going purple. But my worry is now the track is drying at a remarkable rate, and it looks like it might be time for dry tyres soon as we overtake Piastri once again into the final corner. This is becoming our favourite overtaking zone, as the track does seem to be drying now, and if we don't get to where we want to be in overtaking Lando Norris, who's all the way up in P3 or P4, as we go down the inside of Tsunoda. I was not expecting that move to open up, but it did. As we move up into P6, as Alonso is now in the pit lane. I assume that's for dry tyres, because surely he wouldn't go on to the inters now. As we check the vehicle condition, it's the weather report, and it's still a bit too wet for the inters. And now, I was worried about the track drying too much, and this is maybe why, because we've got loads and loads and loads of cars into the pit lane, and I'd love to know what this is for. I assume it's for the dry tyres. Norris is in the pits, but you see they're all changing to inters. They are all going onto the intermediate tyres, which means we inherit the lead, and we will now be ahead of Verstappen by a huge amount. Why they're going on the inters now? It's almost dry tyres. This reminds me of Monaco in 2022, where Leclerc had that botched up pit stop by Ferrari in his home race. Poor Charles Leclerc, man. But we've now got a 10.5 second lead on Nico Hülkenberg in P2, and that's an achievement in itself, as DRS is enabled on lap 18. Verstappen is catching us. And oh my word, lap 18 now, we are pitting this lap onto the medium. So I was worried why people at the track was going to dry too much, but I didn't expect them to go onto the inters and then a lap later go onto the dries. As the safety car is out, oh no. Oh no, that might have just ruined our race. We had a chance to win that race, but has the safety car just ruined it? Because The whole pack's in a bunch up, and I'm so frustrated with this. I need to find out why. So I go back and find out who has spun or crashed, and I see the McLaren of Oscar Piastri has spun in turn 3, and you see the tyres, by the way, 61% on the rears. These tyres have been brilliant for us on the inters. You can see we're struggling to enter the pit lane at the moment, but we do get it just away, keep it just out of the wall, and we pit onto the medium tyres. Everyone else follows us in. Verstappen, Hamilton, Hülkenberg, Ricciardo, they're all coming in for just slick tyres. We're going to pit onto the medium tyres as, oh my god, another slow pit stop. Another slow pit stop. Luckily, it doesn't cost us because we had such a big leader of Verstappen. We come out in P3 behind Norris and Russell, who neither of them are pit onto the dries. Don't know why they're not doing that. It's just completely stupid. So we will inherit the lead when they pit. But oh my god, we have gone onto the mediums. And what's it? Verstappen's gone onto the hards. Max Verstappen's gone onto the hard tyres. Oh my god. So we have a chance to win this race. Kimi Antonelli has a chance to win this race. Wow, okay, so this is a huge opportunity. We know we're fast in Austria as well. We qualified P3, remember, on the dry tyres, as we are going to time this safety car restart to absolute perfection. Remember when I was worried about the track drying too much? Well, now it has, and we're going to see how our pace compares with Max Verstappen. Pierre Gasly also on the podium. Hülkenberg in P4. We're going to time this restart absolutely perfectly. We know we're fast in the final 2 corners, and that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming to get as close to the final 2 corners as possible. As we do get the prepare to resume racing, we're just going to slow the pack down, bunch it all up, and we are going to go now, right about now. I think we caught Verstappen quite off guard there. 4 tenths gained as we now accelerate into the final corner. Have we caught Verstappen napping a little bit? Yes, we have. We've got a 6/10 lead already. Now all we got to do is just maintain the pace and keep it. We're on mediums, which should easily last the next 4 laps. I would have gone on to softs, but I didn't have any spare because I used them all in qualifying. But we have a huge chance here. I expect the all the AI are on hards. As now it's lap 22. We pulled a 2-second gap to Max Verstappen, and this is looking very, very promising for us. As you see, we set the fastest lap, but we're going to go and set an even faster one, 1:06.622. That is better than Albon's Q1 time. So we are flying around here. And now we're 2.5 seconds ahead of Verstappen. This is looking very promising for us. Leclerc also on the mediums. He's making moves as well. As now it's lap 25 of lap 25. Verstappen 2 seconds behind us. We are going to win this. We are going to come around the final corner. It's going to be Austria's time for Kimi Antonelli. Antonelli in Austria has absolutely flown round this circuit 25 times. He's done it. He's going to win his first ever F1 race, and it's going to be in the most unlikely circumstances possible.
Race victory and fastest lap as well. You can see how much, by the way, that fastest lap mattered to them today. It's a bit like marking your territory, isn't it, Crofty? They're looking for absolute dominance, and this seems to be their mission this year. So here they come now, with Williams leading the way to the podium. A hard-fought victory for the team today, and one I'm sure they'll savour. It's Williams, today's winners.
So P1 then, our first ever win. And I don't know how we've done it. We should not be winning that race, but that was all strategy. The intermediate tyres were king. Lewis Hamilton, by the way, I did not mention this. He had an engine failure, most unfortunately for him. Alexander Albon down in P17. That spin did nothing to help his race, nor did it help Oscar Piastri's. But it's Lewis Hamilton and Carlos Sainz who must have lost been out for that first red flag, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I never got a notification. But with that one result and all our rivals around us getting no points this weekend, we move up to P6 in the standings. I don't know how this has happened. If you remember, last episode, we lost the rivalry to George Russell. Well, we're now ahead of him in the standings. So, I don't know what happened there. And you're about to see. Well, I'll just let it happen. So we get our first accolade as well. First accolade of the career mode. And that increases our experience by 2,500. And look at all this experience we're getting. Up to 61 experience. We gain lots of race card. We gain lots of awareness. We're up to 73 pace. And our focus also increases to a 69. And we're almost at a 72 RTG. Remember, our contract was only a 69. And we gain more recognition on Alexander Albon as we head back home now in Italy. Oh my god, I still cannot believe we've won that, and we've got a secret meeting. This better be from Red Bull, especially after we've beaten Verstappen on pure strategy, all called by me. Let's head to the secret meeting and see which team is interested in signing us. And it's Alpine. Okay. Like Haas at the time, they are only one place below us in the championship, and they do have 22 constructors points. I wonder who they intend on replacing. But we won a race in Austria. Gasly got P6, and by the way, I don't think I mentioned this, Hülkenberg got a podium. Yes, Nico Hülkenberg finished third in Austria and got a podium. He overtook I believe it was Leclerc on the last lap of the race, and to secure that podium. And wow, that is long overdue. But with this, in terms of this meeting with Alpine, we're going to continue these talks. Let's just continue them, just like with Haas. Continue them for one more and see what they think. And hopefully, no one at Williams finds out. It's not really a secret meeting. And yes, no one did find out. It's more of a discussion, an open-ended discussion to see where we'll end up next season. But thank you guys for watching this incredible and insane part of our Kimi Antonelli Career mode. If you did enjoy it, I sure did. So if I were you, I would just subscribe, just that little red button below, and click the bell. It helps so much. Like the video as well if you enjoyed. And I'll see you guys next time for Silverstone, the British Grand Prix, and it's our team's home race. As Mark would say, there are a lot of important people in the crowd watching, so let's give them a race to remember. We'll see about that. See you guys then. Goodbye.